The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, one of them flickering like it knew exactly how tense I already felt. The hospital waiting room smelled faintly of antiseptic and regret. I was sitting on the stiff vinyl chair, my hands curled into fists in my lap, trying not to make a sound. Around me, families murmured prayers, wiped tears, or scrolled numbly through their phones. And then I noticed her, Karen. She was standing near the reception desk, phone pressed to her ear, one perfectly manicured nail tapping aggressively against the plastic counter. She didn't belong here. Not really. Her shoes were too clean, her blouse too crisp, her entire posture radiating a kind of entitlement that made my blood boil. But it wasn't just her presence. It was what she said next. "Excuse me," she snapped at the nurse, voice sharp enough to make the woman flinch. "That family over there? They're too loud. Could you, make them leave? Some of us are trying to, recover." I froze. My family was huddled together across the room, whispering prayers for my dad, who was lying unconscious after a sudden heart attack. Too loud? I thought. We were barely whispering. My mom had tears streaking her face. My little sister was clutching a stuffed bear and quietly sobbing. And now this stranger had the audacity to call us a disturbance. The nurse's smile was tight, professional, but I could see her jaw tense. "Ma'am, this is a hospital waiting area. Everyone is allowed to be here," she said carefully. But Karen didn't hear it, or chose not to. "Well, I shouldn't have to see this," Karen insisted, voice rising. "Some of us need peace. I pay taxes, I matter. Surely you can handle this." She gestured toward us, a disgusted wave, like we were insects in her pristine garden. My chest tightened. I wanted to say something, anything, but the nurse stepped in, whispering that she'd handle it. Karen's phone call continued, and I realized she was now narrating our grief like it was a reality show, turning our private pain into public entertainment. I sat there, helpless, watching my family's quiet mourning being scrutinized like a performance. The absurdity and cruelty of it made my head spin, but the hardest part? We still didn't know if my dad would pull through. And now, Karen had just added her judgmental shadow over our last moments together. Then the nurse came back, her expression apologetic, and quietly said, "Karen insists you need to leave." And in that moment my world tilted, because this wasn't just rude. This was about to become a fight over dignity, grief, and the right to say goodbye. The nurse's words hung in the air like a thick fog. "Karen insists you need to leave." My stomach dropped. My mom's hands trembled as she clutched Dad's hospital bracelet. Eyes wide with disbelief, my little sister whimpered, hiding behind my shoulder. I couldn't believe this was happening. Here we were, on the brink of saying goodbye, and some entitled stranger wanted to dictate our grief. Karen's heels clicked sharply as she advanced toward us, phone still pressed to her ear. Every step felt like a judgment, each echo louder than the last. "See?" she said, nodding toward the family. "They're still talking. I shouldn't have to witness this kind of chaos. Some of us need peace, "Ma'am," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "We're not making noise. We're saying goodbye to my dad." She turned, eyebrows raised, lips curling into that smug half-smile that immediately made my blood boil. "Excuse me, goodbye? Your goodbye is disturbing the rest of us. You don't get special privileges just because someone is dying." I wanted to scream. My mom's voice quivered as she added, "He's in ICU, and this is the only time we have—" Karen cut her off, waving dismissively. "I don't care. Rules are rules. Some of us need peace. And I'm not leaving until this is handled." She looked at the nurse expectantly, like she'd already won, like she always won. The nurse hesitated, torn between professionalism and empathy. I could see it, the silent battle in her eyes. Finally, she whispered, "Maybe we should try to move to a different area?" I shook my head. "No, this is our moment. Our final goodbye. We're not moving for her." Karen's expression hardened, her voice dropping to a low, dangerous purr. "Fine. Then I guess I'll have to escalate this. I know my rights." I felt a chill run down my spine. "Rights?" I said, incredulous. "We're talking about human decency, not HOA bylaws." She ignored me and tapped away on her phone. The nurse gave us a sympathetic glance and muttered something under her breath about security. My mom clutched my hand tighter, whispering, "Please, just let us have this." And then, through the haze of tension and hospital antiseptic, the door to the ICU opened. A doctor stepped out, expression grave. "Family, he's stable for now, but we don't know how much longer." That's when it hit me. The urgency, the fragility, and the absurdity collided. Karen's protests, her entitlement, her invasive presence. It all felt so surreal against the weight of the moment. I wanted to protect our space, our grief, from this storm of arrogance, but I knew one thing. Things were about to escalate beyond anything I'd imagined. Karen, meanwhile, was already dialing a number. The tension in the room coiled like a spring ready to snap. The phone in Karen's hand seemed heavier than it looked, loaded with threat and entitlement. She was already talking to someone, her voice clipped, aggressive, painting our private grief as a public disturbance. My mom's lips trembled as she whispered, "I can't believe this is happening." I gritted my teeth. Every instinct told me to stay calm, but rage bubbled under the surface. My little sister hid behind me, peeking around my shoulder, eyes wide, tears streaking her face. The waiting room had turned into a battlefield. Hospital smells, mingled with fear and outrage. "Security is on their way," Karen said triumphantly, as if she were declaring victory in some twisted game. "They'll make sure this commotion doesn't continue." I stood up. "You are seriously threatening a grieving family in a hospital?" My voice shook, part anger, part disbelief. "We are not your entertainment, and we are not the problem here." She tilted her head, feigning innocence, and smirked. "Oh, please, I am the problem solver here. Some of us deserve quiet. I will not leave until this is handled. Do you hear me?" Before I could respond, the nurse appeared at the edge of the room. "I'm sorry, but security insists." She trailed off, clearly uncomfortable. I could see her worry. It was like watching someone try to hold back a tidal wave. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps and radio chatter echoed from the hallway. 2 security guards appeared, professional but tense. Karen pointed at us like she was presenting a trophy. "These are the offenders," she said. Her voice was sharp, triumphant, horrifying. My mom stepped forward, trembling. "Please, we just want a few minutes. That's all. Just a few minutes with my husband." The guards exchanged glances, unsure, and I felt my chest tighten with panic. Time was slipping away. I could almost feel Dad's presence beyond the ICU door, fragile, fading. Karen's entitlement clashed violently with our humanity, and it felt like a grotesque play being forced upon us in real time. Then my dad's monitor beeped, sharp, irregular. The sound sliced through the room like a warning. Instantly, my mom clutched her chest. My sister sobbed openly, and I felt the world tilt sideways. Every second was precious. Karen's eyes flicked to the ICU door, then back to us, her confidence faltering for just a split second. She could see what I was feeling, the imminence, the desperation, the fragility. And in that moment, something changed. A crack appeared in her armor of entitlement, but it was fleeting, almost imperceptible. The nurses rushed past us, a blur of scrubs and urgency. And I realized this was our last shot, our final goodbye. Fragile, fleeting, and absolutely sacred. Karen might have tried to barge into it, to claim dominance, but now, standing at the edge of it all, even she couldn't stop the pull of raw human grief. And as the ICU door closed behind the medical team, Karen froze just for a heartbeat. That heartbeat held a revelation, but would it last long enough for her to truly understand what she had tried to interrupt? The ICU door closed with a soft thud, leaving a tense silence in the waiting room. Karen's chest rose and fell, sharply, as if she had just realized the magnitude of what she'd tried to disrupt. I could see it in her eyes, confusion, maybe guilt, though her pride made it twitch into annoyance almost immediately. We huddled together near the entrance, the faint beeping of Dad's monitors echoing through the corridor. My mom's hand shook in mine. My sister clutched the bear so tightly that I could feel the seams straining. And yet in that small, fragile bubble, something almost sacred settled over us. This was our space, our grief, our final goodbye. And no entitled HOA-style Karen could take that away. Karen hovered a few feet away, still clutching her phone, still trying to maintain control. But now the battle lines had shifted. She wasn't in charge here. The hospital staff ignored her glare, moving with quiet authority, guiding us toward a private room for the final moments. I swallowed hard as I reached the bedside. Dad looked fragile, thinner than memory allowed, tubes snaking into his arms, monitors tracking every imperceptible heartbeat. My mom's lips moved in a silent prayer. My sister whispered a halting, tear-streaked, "I love you, Papa." I pressed my hand over his, feeling the warmth that remained, holding onto it like it was gravity itself. Karen stood in the background, awkward and uncertain. For the first time, she seemed human, or at least human enough to witness real emotion she couldn't control. The absurdity of her earlier demands, the calls, the threats, the insistence on removing us, crashed over her like a wave, and something broke. Not our grief, but maybe, for the first time, a crack in her entitlement. Minutes passed that felt like hours. The hospital staff quietly ensured privacy while still monitoring Dad's condition. The air was thick with unspoken words, with memories, with the crushing finality of what was coming. And then something subtle happened. Karen's phone slipped from her hand. She looked at it, then back at us, eyes finally softening, not apologetic but human. She had witnessed what she could not erase. When Dad's hand twitched faintly, My little sister let out a shuddering sob. My mom leaned close, murmuring words of love, and I whispered goodbye. Every sound, every tear, every breath was ours, unfiltered, unbroken. Karen remained in the background, silent, a witness to the power of raw human grief, a moment far larger than her entitlement. As we left the ICU, I glanced back. Karen was standing alone, her phone dangling from her hand, staring at the closed door. Her expression was unreadable, but for a brief, fleeting second, the weight of what she had tried to control seemed to settle on her shoulders. Some moments are too sacred, too human to be interrupted, and some people, no matter how loud, privileged, or entitled, can only watch as the world keeps moving, leaving them at the edges of someone else's life. We stepped out together, hands clasped, hearts heavy, but whole. Karen didn't say a word, and maybe that was the only justice we needed. Don't forget to subscribe to Vibe TV for more dramatic true story moments. If you felt the emotion, make sure to like the video. Which moment impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing your thoughts.